in this particular clip, the caption says, "Why Gen Z is so disinterested in corporate America." So I wanted to hear what she had to say. Definitely chime in the comments below. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Here we go.
Is anyone else experiencing this kind of like disconnect and just general disinterest in the job search? I just feel like I don't care anymore, and it's so bad, like, because I graduated in 2023, so I did work a little bit in my field. I did have a job in accounting for a little bit. Well, right now I'm still waiting tables. My parents are just really getting on me because they're like, "Olivia, you need to act like you're unemployed. Like, you're getting comfortable with your job." And it's like, no, I'm not getting comfortable. Like, in fact, I want to get out of serving. Like, it's great for what it is, but, you know, it's ultimately not what I want to do. And I do want to get out. But this other life, this like 9-to-5 life, doesn't seem very attractive to me anymore. And I just feel really disillusioned with the whole corporate life because, you know, for all the that you guys go through, at the very least, you could have job security, but you don't.
Listen, what do you guys think about what she's saying so far? You know, I think it's interesting because I know when we were coming up, you know, it was all about going to college so you can get a good job and things of that nature, and you can have job security. Let me know what you guys think on this one, because I think a lot of the younger Gen Z and the younger generation, a lot of them don't want to work 9-to-5 jobs. They don't want to work 9-to-5. They want to be more freer with their time, is from what I've seen. Some of them realize that there's no job security. We understood that your job is not secured. You know, you could get fired or laid off at any time. But I think in this new generation of young people, they weren't privy to that. I don't know, because a lot of them don't have 9-to-5 jobs. With social media and TikTok and Uber and Lyft and all these other ways to make money. I mean, people are making money playing video games. You know, this wasn't a thing when I was growing up, but now there are so many other options and so many other ways to make money. And I think that's part of the reason why the new generation of young people don't see the importance of a 9-to-5. So I think because there are other ways or other things that they can get into, they don't see the importance of going and work a 9-to-5, because it'll take more time and then they make less money. You know, from what we're seeing, people are going to have to start rethinking their choices when it comes to college and maybe finding alternatives to make money, because you see now. But once again, I think a lot of these young people think in terms of, oh, I get a job and it's solid and all of that. But I think when we were growing up, we knew, you know, people would get laid off. There was always a time where a bunch of people got laid off. Your job was not set in stone. Like, you could lose it any day. So this is why I say, listen, you look, if you're out here working and you have a job and you're making decent money, start preserving your money. Start finding ways to save and build your money and have something for a rainy day, because a lot of people are out here spending. We're in a society where everybody wants expensive this and expensive that, and you're not planning for your future or for a rainy day. And then when something like this happens, all is lost, you know. So I don't know. I just want to know what y'all think, but there's more. Let's continue to hear what she has to say. Let's continue.
Really realizing that there's no such thing as job security.
Right.
People used to tell me, oh, get a government job. Y'all see what's happening with the federal jobs? Like, there are whole departments being laid off out of nowhere. No notice, no nothing. You would think that with everything that y'all go through and how much time and energy you pour into these jobs, that they would treat you better, and they don't. I have to move back in with my parents, so it's just something I'm thinking about, because I know they're going to be on my ass about the job search and things like that. And it's not even that I'm lazy. It's just that I don't want to fight for something I don't actually want. It just doesn't seem worth it. Not only do we not have the same level of job security that our parents and our grandparents had, but we also can't afford anything. Even if we do have these jobs, even if we do have this job security, a lot of people can't even afford to pay their rent. At least back then, you guys could pay your rent. You know, you could pay your rent, you can buy your car, you could buy houses, you could afford to eat, you could afford to have fun. We don't have that same reality. The way prices have gone up in comparison to the way wages and salaries have stayed stagnant is insane, and nobody's talking about it. We don't have the same reality that our parents and grandparents did, and they don't want to acknowledge that.
You got to understand too, things have gone up now. Yeah, things were cheaper back in the day, but the wages weren't as much as they are now. So if wages are a problem now, Don't you think they were a problem back then? I remember when minimum wage was what, $4.25, $3.25. Could you imagine living off minimum wage at $3.25? $3.25, I think, was minimum, $3 or $4.25 minimum wage was back in the day. Think about people working. People actually had jobs making minimum wage, and they had to pay rent off of that. Now, rent probably was cheaper, but if you're making minimum wage, you're still struggling. It wasn't just a walk in the park for people back then. No, they had to work extra hard. People work two and three jobs, and then you got to go to college and try to get a decent job. You get a decent job, you want to live in a decent area, it still costs money. What people make now, a lot of people didn't make back then. So it wasn't a walk in the park. They had to work 10 times as hard. Everybody wasn't walking around buying houses left and right back in the day. Everybody couldn't afford that even then. So, it's a different time. Things are more expensive, but it doesn't mean that it was super easy for people back then to make it. I'm just saying. Let's continue.
What we're fighting for is not the same thing that you guys were experiencing. So it's like, I'm fighting so hard to get some 9 to 5 that's going to pay me barely enough to rent a room in a house and live in fear every day of being laid off on a random Tuesday. And then in the midst of that, I don't even know if I can put food on the table, or if I can put food on the table, I don't know if I can put gas in my car. And if I can put gas in my car, I don't know if I can have fun because I need to put food on the table and gas in my car. Our money is not going as far as it used to go. And I feel like we're getting gaslit about that. Like home prices, tuition prices, like the way everything has gone up and they're paying us the same amount of money is insane. So excuse me if I have no interest in fighting for my life in corporate America. I'm sorry.
Well, listen, I mean, it is what it is. It's a part of life. I would say, back in the day, things were a lot cheaper, but it doesn't mean it was super easy for everybody. There were people working hard and struggling back then. They didn't have all that job security. A lot of people work hard for years and end up being laid off. It happens. This is not a new occurrence, So I just think a lot of young people think it should be a walk in the park for them and think that it was a walk in the park for their parents. No, their parents had to work hard to achieve the things that they had, and everybody wasn't out here just living their best life. People were still struggling. It was still a struggle to survive and live. And now, today's day and age, is the same. But I think a lot of these young people just assume that their parents and their and them people had it easier. No, it was a lot of people were struggling to survive and live and thrive back then too. So I want to know what y'all think. Do you think a lot of these young people are just lazy? Do you think that they're entitled? What do you think? Or do they have a valid point? We know that things are super expensive and it is getting harder for people to live and afford everything. But do you think that a lot of these young people are entitled and they just want things easier? Or do you think they have a valid point in their complaints? Let me know in the comments below. I want to hear your thoughts on this one. Chime in, subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff, you guys. Hit that notification bell and let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.